She had seen hundreds come and go. Dogs with scars, dogs with stories. Dogs who had been forgotten by everyone except her. But this one was different. Linda knew at the moment she saw the way he leaned into people, as if trying to become smaller despite his size. Moose was not the loudest dog in the shelter. He was not the most dramatic, either. But there was something about the way he moved. Careful, watchful. As if every step he took was measured, waiting to be told whether he belonged or not. Linda had seen that look before. Every morning, Moose waited by the gate before Linda even arrived. He always knew when she was coming. His tail would thump gently against the bars. Not wildly, not demanding, just enough to say, "I am still here. I still believe someone is coming for me." Linda walked him herself, even when volunteers offered. She said it was easier, but it was more than that. Moose never pulled, never barked at other dogs. He walked beside her like they were tethered by something invisible. Sometimes she spoke to him. Told him about her day, the bills, the names of the puppies in the next kennel over. Moose never interrupted. He just listened. And when she paused, he leaned. That gentle pressure on her thigh, like he was holding her up from the inside. It was comforting and terrifying. Because Linda had not let herself feel this kind of pull in years. Not since the last time she loved a dog enough to call him her own. She had once taken a dog home. His name was Bruno. A shepherd mix with wide eyes and too many fears. She tried everything: training, time, love. But one night, he slipped through a gap in the fence. They found him 3 days later. Broken. Gone. Since then, Linda made herself a rule. She would love them, care for them, fight for them, but never keep them. Never cross that line again. Because if she did, and something happened, she knew she would not survive it twice. But Moose was testing that rule. Every time he rested his head in her lap. Every time his eyes found hers across the yard. She kept telling herself he was just another case. Just another dog waiting for a home. But her heart was not listening. One afternoon, a young couple came into the shelter. They had a big yard, they said. They loved labs. Wanted a gentle one. Linda smiled, nodded, and brought Moose out to meet them. He was polite, as always. Sat when asked. Leaned gently into the woman's leg. They smiled, but hesitated. Said he seemed a little too needy. A little too heavy. They wanted a dog, not a shadow. Linda did not argue. She just nodded and watched them walk away. Moose sat beside her in the hallway afterward, watching the door with quiet hope. That night, Linda stayed later than usual. She sat beside his kennel and told him she was sorry. She told him it was not his fault. That sometimes, people walked away even when they saw gold in front of them. Moose leaned against the bars. She leaned back. When Moose started limping, she panicked. The vet said it was likely a mild sprain. Rest and time would help, but the shelter was already full. And resources were stretched. One of the coordinators suggested transferring him to another facility. A bigger rescue. More exposure, Linda nodded. But her chest tightened. She knew what transfers meant. Distance. Uncertainty. More change. And Moose had already had too much of that. That night, she sat in the dark hallway, listening to the soft snore coming from his kennel. Something inside her whispered, Not again. The next morning, she walked into the office and pulled out a form she had not touched in over a decade. Amanda looked up and blinked. Linda handed it over, her voice steady. Adoption papers. For Moose. The shelter cheered. Amanda cried. Linda just smiled and walked back to the kennel. Moose stood up the moment he saw her, tail wagging low, eyes hopeful. She opened the gate and knelt. "You are coming home," she whispered. He leaned so hard into her, she almost lost her balance. But this time, she leaned right back. "Complete your 600 words." Linda's apartment was small. The kind of place where the couch touched the dining table, and the hallway lights flickered when the microwave ran. But to Moose, it might as well have been a palace. He sniffed every corner, every chair leg, every worn-out cushion. He found the window first, then the rug, then her slippers. He did not bark, he did not pace. He just looked at her, then lay down with a long, satisfied sigh, like someone who had finally found the bed they dreamed of. Linda stood still, hand on the door, heart aching in the best way. In the days that followed, Moose learned the rhythm of her life. He waited outside the bathroom door. He sat beside her when she made tea. He followed her to the kitchen, to the couch, to the laundry room. Always leaning, always there. Like gravity with a heartbeat. He was not always easy. He shed everywhere. He snored like an engine. He chewed 2 remote controls. But Linda found herself laughing more, sleeping better, waking up with a warmth beside her that made the apartment feel less lonely, less empty, less quiet. One evening, while sorting through old boxes, Linda found Bruno's collar. She froze, the leather worn and familiar, in her hands. Moose came and sat beside her, his head nudging her elbow gently. She did not cry, not this time. She just placed the collar back and whispered, "Thank you." Moose looked up at her, his golden eyes soft and still. It was as if he understood that he had not replaced anyone. He had simply arrived at the right time, with the right kind of love. The kind that fills the cracks instead of covering them. At the shelter, they still talked about Moose. New staff heard the story. He was a lot, Amanda always said, the photo with a Linda smile pinned on the office board. But Linda knew better. He was not too much. He was exactly enough. Sometimes, love does not arrive quietly. Sometimes it leans hard. It sheds everywhere. It drags your heart through memories you tried to forget, but it also stays. It heals. It teaches you that starting over does not mean forgetting. It means finally coming home. Linda saved hundreds of dogs, but Moose, he saved her right back. Not with grand gestures or perfect timing, but with the simple, steady presence of a soul who knew how to wait, how to stay, how to love without asking for anything in return. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who has ever loved and lost and dared to love again. Because behind every rescue is a deeper rescue. One you never see coming until it leans into your life and refuses to let go. Subscribe for more stories like this one. Because sometimes the one you save ends up saving you too.